Hi guys, rainy day today, you can probably hear. Just been up in the loft looking for something for one of my other little projects, and I brought these three down. Didn't intend to, but I thought I'd bring them down. I do have some others somewhere, but as you can see they're all Lightning McQueens. That one is one that I've converted to full hobby grade, which is quite fun. There'll be a link in the video description to that one. That one I recovered from a recycling centre and had to repair some wires in it and that. Doesn't do a lot. 3 wells at the front. It has, can't remember if it's got a motor in the back or not. Runs on 2 AA batteries and it has sound effects. So switch it on.
Kapow! 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 I am Lightning McQueen.
Right, in that case I don't think it has a motor in it. It is just sound effects.
I am Lightning McQueen.
Oh, and the eyes move. Okay, and then the third one is this one, which is ordinary 27 megahertz, but I noticed when I picked it up, it looks like the batteries have been leaking. So we're going to have to tidy that up before we can give it a run. Yeah, pretty gross, to be honest. So we'll deal with that in a minute. Hi guys, I seem to be doing a bit of a series using these 14500 lithium-ion batteries. 14mm diameter and 50mm length. The other day I said 500 because obviously 14500 rolls off the tongue, but it's 50mm length, 2 inches, ordinary AA size. Anyway, I was going to demonstrate in this car. In fact, there was a couple that I was going to demonstrate it in, but when I took the battery box off this one, you can see these are all corroded and horrible. So I have to see if we can replace them. And some of them should pop out quite easily, but some of them I might have to take the cover off to get to the other side of them. This is an interesting little battery box because clearly it's designed to take up to 6 of them. And this is a dummy. So it could have another 2 in there if you wanted. Takes 4, which gives us a bit of a problem when it comes to using one of these. 4 would be 6 volts, 4 AA's. That's 3.7, call it 4 when it's freshly charged. So you want 1.5 of these to give you 6 volts. If you put 2 of them in there, you're actually going to be giving it nearer 8 volts. So there's a good chance that you'll actually kill this one. The ones that I demonstrated already, one had just 3 in it. So 3 times 1.5 is 4.5 volts. One of them is a good swap for 4.5 volts. It'll work okay. Then the other one had 5. 5 times 1.5, 7.5 volts. 2 of those, 3.7 volts. 2 of them, 7.4 volts, or as I keep saying, fully charged, 8 volts. So 2, 5, 1, 3, but this one wants 6 volts. Do we take the risk and run it at 8 volts and see if we actually kill it? That's what might happen. I think that's all I'm really saying. don't think they're going to pop out easily. I'm going to have to take the cover off. Keep the tablecloth clean. You could run it with a bigger battery and use a buck converter, little electronic module that will drop the voltage back down again. You can buy sort of a dozen of them or a pack of 10 of them for a couple of quid. And they're very small little modules, so that might be an option. Run it with 2 of those and a buck converter to drop it down to 6 volts instead of 7.5, well, instead of 8. I keep saying these are 1.5 volts. If they're nickel metal hydride, they're only 1.2 volts and 1.3 when they're freshly charged. These, if you get them straight out of the pack when they're brand new, you'll find they are more than 1.5 volts. So it's all a little bit open for debate if that's what sort of thing that you want to do. Looks like I've got to undo them. So what do they do? The front one somehow. Right, okay. We need to get down to the battery tags. Probably best to take the receiver off. I think this one might have sound effects. In fact, thinking back, I think I did a video on it trying to operate the sound effects manually by touching wires in the right place, because I don't have the original transmitter for this. Yeah, all this up here, that's the sound effects. So you've got the ordinary receiver board plus this add-on. I don't want to come out. That one's moved. That one doesn't want to move. I'll have to desolder them before I can move them anyway. Right, we'll have a little break. I'll get the soldering iron out, desolder those wires so we can flatten the tags off, so we can push them up through, out the way. Right, quite a delay there because I've been hunting through my stock for the buck converter. I grabbed that, and I think that's the opposite. I think that's whatever you put in ends up at 5 volts going out. LM2596, I'll have to look that up. But I think that one might be a boost to 5 volts. Whereas this little fella is what I was looking for. Searched upstairs and eventually found it downstairs. Mini 360. Okay. In at that end, out at that end. And there is a little trimmer there. I might have to wire it up. Oh, let's get that in focus so you can see it a bit closer. Don't know what Mini 360 stands for. But that's what I remember with this one. You can adjust what comes out. So I might just temporarily wire that up and see what we can do with it. Little demonstration of this little module, buck converter, I believe it's called. I'm going to use a 3S battery, which is about 12 volts. In fact, we can measure it. That one's going to measure the output, that one's going to measure the input. Right, 6.4 volts output. And at the moment, can you see that? No, that wire's in the way, isn't it? There we are, that's a bit better. 6.4 output and 11.8 input. Now this isn't the right tool for the job, but it will work. Just to demonstrate, if I turn that trimmer, so we can go up or down. So what we want now, instead of using a 12 volt input, we're talking about using 2 of these at about 8 volts. I'll see what I can rig up so we can try that. Right, I've now rigged up a temporary little battery box for 2 of these 14500s. So we should be getting about 8 volts out of them. Oh, look at that, 8.06. Okay, so we'll now plug them into this one. We're getting 6.36 on the output. So that should do what we want. I mean, I could trim it a little bit more, but I think 6.36 is probably all right. Just a little bit above the 6 volts. So I'll go ahead and try and sort out the battery box in there. I've got some terminals or tags, or whatever you want to call them, recovered from another car. So hopefully there'll be enough there to do what we need to do. I'll see if I can restore it to how it should be, so it's actually got enough terminals in there for 4 batteries. So it can still be run on ordinary AA's. It would be easy just to put enough terminals in there just for the 2 batteries, but as I say, I'll do it so it can have the 4 batteries in there, and then we'll see how it gets on with that. I don't even know if we can run this car, whether I've got a transmitter that will actually match it or not. So we'll find out when we've done all this. Worst case, we have to take that receiver out and put something else in there. Nice shiny new springs contacts. So one of them, one of my dummies, another one of my dummies, and another one of them. So that way, that way, that way, that way. Yeah, that's it. So we've now got 8 volts in there. And the dummies are just straight through. Just while I've got this apart, we'll have a quick look at the receiver. That's labelled RX6 ATS 306R RABA22BA. Okay. Anything else interesting on there? Those 4 will be the H bridge for the drive motor. And those 3 must be, oh, there's the 4th one underneath the wires. Those 4 will be the H bridge. Come on, focus. H bridge for the steering motor. That's a bit better. Focus. Sorry, it's shaky. Handheld. Yeah, those 4 smaller transistors are the steering H bridge, and the ones in my fingers there are the transistors for the drive motor. Interesting enough, you can just see up on the top right there, it says M3 plus and M3 minus, and there's a load of missing components there, so obviously this board could drive a 3rd motor. I suspect what's happened is that's been used for this board here, which is the sound board, I think. Sound effects. And I just added it on the end there. Right, I'm going a little bit complicated here. Let's try and refocus. Right, here we are. So I've added a JST connector there across the battery terminals. So instead of going straight to the board, they're going to that connector first. And then to get to the board, I've got another JST connector there, which goes down to the on-off switch and to the board. So we can connect the board to the battery that way. But what I'm doing over here somewhere is rigging up this buck converter so it can go in between. So if we want to use it with the 14500 batteries, we can use this to drop the voltage back down to 6 volts. So it's getting a little bit complicated, but that's what we've done. I could encapsulate that in a nice big bit of shrink down tubing, just to keep it safe. But the idea is we can put that in the middle, so when we don't need it, it's not there, and when we do need it, we plug it in. And while I was working there, a couple of these wires fell off anyway, so I've resoldered them. Don't think there's anything particularly interesting on the back of the board here. So yeah, we'll see what happens when we put it back together. Well guys, this has all gone wrong. Bit disappointing really. Went and got my box full of 27 megahertz receivers. Found the right one for the car, or at least when I say the right one, I was looking at the previous video I did on this car, and although it looks like the right one, it isn't quite. In the video I showed the steering's the wrong way around. Nothing you can't fix by shifting a couple of wires around. But yeah, it's got fresh battery in it. But come on, focus. But it doesn't work. All my effort of doing our clever little voltage dropper to get the right voltage to feed it, and it's not interested. It is switched on. In fact, I'll put the camera back on the tripod and I'll show you some measurements. Right, can we see that meter? Yes, we can. Put it on voltage. Right, if I can do it without getting my hands in the way of the meter so you can still see it. That's our positive. That's our negative. 6.3 volts, I think you can see that. Oh, that's a bit better. So yeah, we're getting 6.3 volts all the way through to the board. But after that, it don't work. And I don't know why not. There's no obviously burnt out chips or anything. And in the old video, it was working. So I'm at a bit of a loss. None of my other cars work to this transmitter, so I can't confirm it with a different car. Confirm that it's actually working. And I put a fresh battery in it to make absolutely sure. It's a funny old controller, this one. Forwards and backwards is tilt the steering wheel forwards and backwards. Can't imagine how they thought that was a good idea of doing it. And then left and right is left and right. And then we've got turbo and voice. And in the previous video, I can't remember how many years ago it was, but there'll be a link in the video description to the playlist with this car in it. Yeah, in the previous video it worked. You could get the voice to work. But absolutely nothing's happening. Well, I say absolutely nothing. I can make the voice work with a bit of cheating here.
Did you see me out there? I was great. You just got piston cup. Here I come. Boy, I make this look easy. I am faster than fast. I am Lightning McQueen. Did you see me out there? I was great. You just got struck by lightning. Piston cup. Here I come. Speed. I am speed. Boy, I make this look easy. I am faster than fast. Did you see me out there? I was great.
Yeah, so voltage is getting through to there all right. I am confused. So yeah, a bit disappointing, or a grinding halt to be exact, because we ain't going to go any further. Can't demonstrate it going. Can't demonstrate that my buck converter is doing the job for us. Thanks for watching. If you want more information, check down below in the video description. If you like this video, you might like this one up here. And if you want to subscribe, you can check out my channel over here. Up here is my latest video on my channel, and down here is a video playlist associated with the video you've just watched. Thanks again for watching.